like the bird better. All right. I like the bird. I'm just saying. I feel disrespected. I'm offended.
Ad hoc, I sent you a link in your motherfucking DMs on Discord, bro. Like, yo, you want to load that bitch
I
up
see
and
it.
motherfucking
Yeah, I got it.
share your screen, and I'll make you full size and shit, right? And like, yo, we can
Okay.
motherfucking get to the joint. But yo, what up, and welcome back to Pinoy News, my brothers and my sisters, my niggas and my bitches. How the fuck y'all doing, man? Listen, all right, we got Ad Hoc here with his lolly icon. We got Mike here with his motherfucking bunny icon. We got TK Mao. I don't know what TK Mao is doing, to be perfectly honest with you. It's some, I think he got some like fucking Chinese porn from back in like the 4th century BC. I'm not absolutely sure, right? He's like,
nah, this is my OG avatar, man. This is what I rocked way back in the day. Like
got you.
This is a piece of Japanese art where a dumb woman cut her silk dress that a cat was sleeping on in order to not wake it up.
That is fucking tragic. I'll be honest with you. Like, that is some tragic shit, right? But like, yo, I want
tragic enough that they painted it.
I want to say what up to Jim McIntosh, motherfucking Willie Cogley, Pakistani, and motherfucking Darkstar out the chat. How y'all motherfuckers doing? It's nice to see y'all out here in Darkstar. Yeah, man, I was on Pop Stream just spazzing the fuck out the other day because, like, I'll be honest with you, motherfuckers, like, yo, don't know how to, like, yo, not be fucking ridiculous and retarded and listen. You know what I mean? Like, yo, it just is what it is, right? Like, it was like 18 on 1 and Tom Pease went ham. That's just how the hell that works. And Artist XE, man, listen, right? The new generation of right-wing motherfuckers. No, I am going to explain who the new generation of right-wing individuals are. They're fucking super interesting. It's actually us, right? Yo, it's us. Man, listen, it's our turn. Peter Thiel, the billionaire, is out here funding campaigns of individuals who are led by motherfucking Curtis Yarvin and all boys and shit. And we're gonna break down a little bit of the article, not a whole lot as far as shit's concerned. I'm just waiting for Ad Hoc to load that bitch the fuck up because I actually had it loaded in my OBS, but I'll be honest, it's unnecessary now. You know what I mean? Because Ad Hoc's here, and he's our permanent narrator and shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Are you gonna put it up in your joint and share your fucking screen?
Working on it.
Well, and
okay, there we go.
I know you're just, playing it up a bit there, Pinoy, but let's be 100% real here. Like, unfortunately, this is not going to be us who are these new right-wing motherfuckers. Like, understand that Bezos and people like him are reading Yarvin at this point. And that, I'm not exactly sure how well that's going to end up turning out.
Hold on.
Man, listen, and DJ Cough and Sneeze, man, welcome. You know what I'm saying? Have you a wrench? It's nice to see you out here. Roots Calhoun's is in the motherfucking chat. It's nice to see y'all motherfuckers out here, man. Listen, we're gonna everybody gets a wrench in my chat. It's a wrench, no state. That way nobody can ever get censored for anything they say. And TK, I'll be honest with you. I think guys like motherfucking Bezos have been reading Yarvin from the motherfucking start and shit. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think this is something that. Where's your wrench?
No, like on Twitter the other day, like somebody told Bezos to put Yarvin's book on his reading list, and he did.
Yeah, I mean,
this was something that happened just like the other day.
Oh shit! I would have figured fucking Bezos had been on him a long goddamn time ago because, like, I'll be honest, like most of his like real readership was all like Silicon Valley people and shit.
Yeah, Bezos and like the actual like movers and shakers, as opposed to like some of the managerial class, are kind of slow on the uptake. Like, understand that for all his faults, like, Bezos is an actual fucking CEO. Unlike, fucking Prague or whatever at Twitter there, who's just like a CTO who took over for a CEO, right? These are fundamentally different concepts here. Like they're different people. They run shit differently. They think differently. They're
Jeff
Yo, I
Bezos
was
is a
not. Yo,
demon.
look, Roots Calhoun last night. I was in there hanging out with him when I was on my way home from like going to see that bitch I was telling you about earlier, right? And like, fucking. Oh, hang on, let me throw that up on the motherfucking screen real quick. All right, so, look, I was not impressed by your Stetson hats, and I'm gonna tell you why I wasn't impressed by your fucking Stetson hats and shit, right? Like. Like the reason why I was not impressed by your fucking Stetson hats is because like I don't like hats with feathers, all right? Unless like you're wearing a pimp suit with it, right? Like unless you got like a purple suit on and you got a giant ass feather in there and you're just out here smacking bitches and telling them to get back on their fucking corner and asking them where your money is, I'm not impressed with your Stetson hat. You know what I mean? That's where my man, like you should not fucking have a feather in your hat unless like you're like Peter Pan, right? And you're out here fighting Captain Hook, or you're like choking bitches and telling them where the fuck your money is. You know what I mean? That's my mentality. You know what I mean? At the end of the day.
what about Robin Hood?
Look, the feather in
Like
your hat.
what if you're like robbing
man.
rich niggas and like
Everybody
handing it
knows
out in
that
the
the
ghetto?
feather is to distract your enemy, bro, while you fuck them up. All right.
That's what the feather's for? I didn't know that.
Yo, it's to throw them off, bro. When you whip your head around, you know what I'm saying? Try to get a headshot on a dude, bro, that's flashing red feathers all over the place. You know what I'm saying?
Like, I feel you. Like, and I mean, like, but like, he was over here, like, man, listen, like, I got these Stetson hats I wear, and he had like these snakeskin boots. And I'm like, you understand? I step outside in a pair of Timberlands and some sweatpants with a t-shirt and legitimately pull bitches. I come home with broads in the pocket to bag them and fuck shit out of them. Right? It's just I don't need all the extracurricular to motherfucking bang broads. Like, it just not me and shit, right? Anyway, right? Like, because all right, the reason why we're covering this as a whole is number one, because like it's popular at the moment, right? And Tom Pease needs some traction right on his fucking channel. I like having, you know what I mean, like being placed in the algorithm properly. I think that's an important thing, right? You know what I mean? But secondly, because of the fact that like we're eventually going to have to get into having a conversation about the fucking US Ministry of motherfucking thought speak and shit, right? I think, you know what I mean, like we're gonna have to have some real ass conversations about what's going on. And you know what I mean, anybody else here kind of like upset about the fact that we have a Ministry of thought speak now?
But yo, you just said you wanted to get put in the algorithm, and then you just, you know what I'm saying, opened up a topic that's gonna get you shit on in the algorithm.
Ministry of Truth, more like, but let's not act like this wasn't already in the wings. Like, let's be real here. This was probably something that was on a draft board for like a year or two. They probably got the ball rolling about 6 months ago, and then Elon bought Twitter, and they're like, okay, we need to put this into action now.
Okay, well, like let's talk about this before we get into this article, because I think it's kind of important at the end of the day. All right, so the Ministry of Truth in the United States, right? I told Pops it's a good thing because it means we're winning, right? It means that they are so goddamn concerned about what the fuck it is we're saying that they feel insecure enough that they're literally going to put out the motherfucking thought speak coalition to stop us from fucking speaking, because a secure government, a secure regime doesn't care what people think.
Yeah, like, think about it this way. Like, when fucking the coup first started happening, right?
Right.
Like, they didn't have to really crack down on anyone at first. Like, there were enough doctors just fucking swarming motherfuckers online anytime they started spouting off that like the government really didn't have to do anything except like do what it was asked to do, and it got to grab a bunch of power during that time, right? It's not until after the whole thing started to fall the fuck apart that they started having to fucking crack down on shit.
I
feel where
just
you are.
enjoy the delicious irony when Twitter whole started out the whole Puritan woke spiral that they said, oh, Twitter's a private company, it can do whatever the fuck it wants when it was censoring people left, right, and center. And now that Elon Musk is supposedly threatening actual free speech, they're panicking and saying there needs to be government oversight of all public spaces.
That's not irony. That's them exerting their power, right?
It's irony to
Like,
me.
no, like it's not ironic because these people don't actually believe anything they say. They're just mouth noises that get other people to do things.
Kanakastani got a really good point. He said the cathedral always chooses the active response, right? And that is 100%. Like, yo, I'm loving your mentality on that. Like, yo, I really am, because that's fucking great. You're not wrong, right? But on the same point, when you look at what the hell they're doing, right? What they're doing is like they're standing here worried about what individuals are saying about them, right? And as a government that is supposedly like the greatest government on the planet, you know what I mean? And like, you know, completely and all this fucking shit. Like, they shouldn't be thinking like that. You know what I mean? Just as a general thing, they should not be concerned about what people say. Because like if
Just
like,
really just be looking at Twitter like, oh, Elon bought Twitter? Okay, whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
And let's
that's
be
kind of where the mental should be. Go ahead, TK.
Yeah, and let's be 100% clear about this. Censorship is part of every government ever. It's just that, like, a government that actually has a solid foundation doesn't need to exert censorship as a political weapon against the lower class, I guess that is the best way of saying what I'm thinking, because like the office of censor.
Wait. I don't think that is. And I'm gonna hit you.
All right. Go ahead.
You're right. You're on the right track. Right. The Kanakastani said it's a Hail Mary pass, really, since the cathedral can no longer count on all the companies towing the message. No, that's not the problem. The problem is they're not offering anything to anyone anymore. Right. It's like, yo, when America was offering the American dream, right? Where, like, you know, you get a house, a white picket fence, a bitch, 2.3 kids, and a golden retriever. You didn't need a motherfucking thought police, right? But once that shit's gone, yo, TK, I think you're echoing, my brother, to be honest with you.
Yeah, he's hot.
Right?
Sorry about that.
You're cool. Right? You know what I mean? Like, you know, once that's gone, and once that no longer motherfucking, like, exist anymore, once you no longer are offering people enough to, like, you know, worry about whether or not, you know, I mean, they're going to choose your path, right? That's when you start having to put in the thought police. And that's the mentality that I really want to look at. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's my mental and shit. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, because like, yo, when you have a good product, motherfuckers buy it regardless. Like, people went to McDonald's on a regular basis, right? Until like there was better options, right? Until like you like McDonald's stopped offering shit that was cheap, right? Like, when you can get a burger for $1 at McDonald's, you're gonna go to McDonald's because like you ain't getting a fucking sandwich anywhere for $1 ever, right? But if McDonald's is the only place in town that's gonna give you a burger for $1, if you have $1, son, like, yo, and you can go elsewhere, fucking, you're gonna go elsewhere. And that's kind of the thing.
My point,
considering that McDonald's is now standing out against the message. One franchise owner in Texas put up a sign that supposedly said "concealed carry and open carry are welcome."
yeah, that's a franchise owner. That's not like an actual like company thing. Anyhow, my point here on that one, Pinoid, was more of like the original office of censor back in the Roman Republic. The purpose of it was to get rid of degenerate senators, right? So it was explicitly a tool used by the upper class in aggregate against dissenters in the upper class, right? And that is how censorship operates in a secure regime. It operates as a mechanism for the regime to consolidate power in the upper class. It's not a tool that works against the lower class as an in general thing, because like if you censor like a senator,
black people. Is kind of
right. Because like if you said, yeah, and the other thing is that Simply said that like censorship works against senators and upper class people because it alienates them from their peers. Lower class people don't give a shit who's exiled in upper class society.
Yes.
Right? It just means that those lower class people are going to start talking in fucking barroom corners instead of out on the street. And you don't want peasants conspiring in secret. That's not something you want.
I like that mentality, right? I like that mentality, right? And that kind of brings us right around to where the hell we are. So like what they did is they started like censoring the upper class to the point where now we have upper class individuals who are standing here going, well, you know what? We can design new systems, right? We can look at this and go like, there's better ways to do this, which brings us to our article of the day. Ad hoc.
Hello, yes.
Hi, how are you today?
I'm fine. How are you? Did you want to get started?
Man, yo, we should probably get started on the article. You know what I'm saying? We're like 15 minutes in.
Yeah, we probably should. I mean? Oh, let's go!
Let's get it done! Right, yo, let's rock.
Inside the new right, where Peter Thiel is placing his biggest bets. They're not MAGA, they're not QAnon. Curtis Yarvin and the rising right. It's what?
It's Peter Thiel.
Peter Thiel. Okay.
Yeah, that's how you pronounce it.
The rising stars are creating a different strain of conservative politics by James Polk. It was Halloween in Orlando, and we had piled into the car to make a short trip from the Hilton to an after party down the road to wind up in the first night of the latest edition of a gathering called the National Conservative Conference. For at least many of the young people, the actual business of conference going seemed to be beside the point. A gesture at how we used to conduct politics back before life in America spun out of control. There were jokes, or maybe there were serious questions, about whether one of the guys tagging along with us was a Fed. I surreptitiously made a few searches of the name that he'd given me and was surprised when I couldn't find a single plausible hit. Though that could have been because he was hyper secret crypto type. There were some of those floating around. Not that anyone cared. These were people who were used to guarding their words. Don't fuck me here, a dark-haired woman named Amanda Millis said to me as she somewhat imperiously dealt with a guy at the door who was skeptical about letting a reporter into the party, and say we're all in here sacrificing kids to Moloch. We're just the last normal people hanging out at the end of the world. I met Millis outside the Hilton when I'd asked for a cigarette, and she began to chaperone me around, telling me people who eyed my press pass that I was there to profile her as an up-and-coming female director who, she said, had attracted more Amazon streams than any other woman ever with her first documentary, a counter-narrative about Russiagate. Annie Leibovitz is still scheduling the photo shoot, she kept saying. In this world, almost every word is layered in so much irony that you can never be sure what to take seriously or not. Perhaps a semi-conscious defense mechanism for people convinced that almost everyone is out to get them. Oh, fuck, she said as we walked into the small ballroom where the party was already underway. The room was pitifully quiet, lit in strip club red, and the sparse crowd that was almost entirely male, with the cash bar off in the corner that seemed unable to produce drinks fast enough to buoy the mood. We have a thing we say, she said. This is exactly what the people at the Washington Post think we're doing. Well, this is exactly what the people at the Washington Post think we're doing. A portly guy running for Congress in Georgia made his way to the front of the room to give a speech heavy on MAGA buzzwords and the florid expressions of fealty to Donald Trump. This is sad, Millis said. No one cheered or even seemed interested. But this was not Trump world. Even if many of the people in the room saw Trump as a useful tool, and these parties aren't always so lame. NatCom in this conference has grown into a big tent gathering for a whole range of people who want to push American right in a more economically populist, culturally conservative, assertedly nationalist direction. It draws everyone from Israel hawks to fusty paleocon professors to mainstream figures like Ted Cruz and Marco Rubio. But most of the media attention that the conference attracts focuses on a cohort of rosy young blazer-wearing activists and writers, a crop of people representing the America's right, radical young intellectuals, as a headline in the New Republic would soon put it, or conservatism's terrifying future, as David Brooks called them in The Atlantic. But the people these pieces describe, who made up most of the partygoers around me, were only the most buttoned-up seam of a much larger and stranger political ferment, burbling up mainly within America's young and well-educated elite, part of an intermedia class info war. The podcasters, the bro-ish anonymous Twitter posters, the online philosophers, artists, and amorphous scenesters in this world, voraciously known as dissentants, neo-reactionaries, post-leftists, or the heterodox fringe. Though they're all often grouped for convenience under the heading of America's New Right. They have a wildly diverse set of political backgrounds, with influences ranging from the 17th century Jacobite royalists to Marxist cultural critics to the so-called reactionary feminists to the Unabomber. Ted Kaczynski, who they sometimes refer to with semi-ironic affection as Uncle Ted, which is to say
Uncle
that this
Ted.
new right is which is not part of the conservative movement, as most people in America would understand it. It is better described as a tangled set of frameworks for critiquing the systems of power and propaganda that most people reading this would probably think of as the way the world is. And what point shapes all of it? It is a project to overthrow the thrust of progress, at least as such as the liberals understand the word. This worldview, these worldviews.
Hold up. Right. I mean, because I want to stop right here, right? Because I think it's kind of important that we address this. So I don't think that, you know what I'm saying, it's I think they miss some of that right there, because a lot of it is, and especially because the leaders, fucking guys like Yarvin and shit, and Nick Land, there's a lot of it that comes out of the Italian school, right? Which is, you know what I'm saying, Machiavelli, Fusco, right? Bernard, Burnham, right? And these guys are motherfucking something else completely, right? They're not, critiquing it from it's not the Jacobite mentality that brings them to the mental that they get to. It's the Italian school. It's the pragmatic school of shit. You know what I mean? I just want to put that out there.
Yeah, because what motherfucker? No, I was just going to point out that if you were going to take the purely democratic ideology of the Anglo-American type thing, you'd think that you wanted to be loved by the people, but these people realize that being feared is just as useful in some aspects. And that is something that has been fundamentally missing from our politics in a real sort of way for a couple of generations at this point.
It's not just that, right? It's the entire pragmatic look of how things work, right? Because once you start addressing shit from the aspect of what is needed versus what we're doing, right? Because what's needed is a tiered system when it comes to law enforcement and court systems and rights and things of this nature, to where so feminism and divorce and all these things are fucking fine for upper class people, right? But they are fucking cancer of the worst. They're stage 3 metastasized fucking leukemia bone cancer to poor people. Right. So you need separate ideologies for these type of things. And we have no pragmatic way of looking at how we're doing shit. Right. We don't really look at it as when people talk about the colonialization of Africa and India and other countries where America is when their immigration policy basically robs these fucking countries of their intelligent and productive classes, right? You know what I mean? And we do the same thing to our rural communities on a regular basis and have no issue with it whatsoever. And that's something that we never fucking address, right? Because like, when I look around my town and I go, all right, well, we have like these restaurants and these stores that in the end of the day, if there's like, if their kids go to college, you know what I mean? Like I have like this pizza shop here and it's like ran by two Italian people, right? Two old Italians. And they have like these like fucking, college age kids and shit. And the college age kids are going to school. And when they're done with school, they're not going to run the pizza shop. And then they're going to end up selling it. Right. And
well,
that's
can they I feel you, and like I feel like part of what we're talking about is like the fact that we've got this false ideology of efficiency because we have certain things that we can measure easily. And we assume that because we can measure them easily that they're significant. And they're probably not. Like, just as an example here, something you've been harping on about endlessly, but I'll put like a slightly different way. If everyone in America spent 5 times as much as they do right now on food, they would have a better quality of living.
Right. I mean, and
right.
I've addressed this a lot with Pops recently, where I go on his streams and I talk about it. Like in the 1960s and 70s, you spent 25 or 30% of your income on food. Right. And today we spend 8%. And like people are standing here going, oh my God, look at all this inflation. People are going to starve. I'm like, no. You're going to have to stop paying for your internet. Like you're going to have to take some of the resources that you spend on bullshit, right? And spend it on your internet. Fucking Mike's Pops. He has a channel. It's called You Can't Fool Pops, right? I've actually put up videos where I've linked him and shit. You know what I mean? Fucking that one where like I was versus the drunk black guy and shit. I fucking have a link to the video. It's his fucking channel and shit, right? Fucking like, and so where we are right now is like, you're probably going to go back to spending 25% because the truth is that over the past generation, you've had 50 or 60% of your kids go to college. So all these jobs that make your fucking logistics change for your fucking food to come to your house or go to your grocery store, right? You know what I mean? Like that shit there, you know what I mean? Requires workers. Like you have to have order selectors and forklift drivers and truck drivers and all this shit. And the kids who go to college, like they don't want to do those jobs. And I'll be honest, I did those jobs. They fucking sucked, right? They're horrible jobs. And if you need to pay somebody to do them, like I'll be real, order selecting is on the level of literally training to be in the NFL. Like it's just like, because I'm gonna tell you how I know this, right? It's literally the same fucking, like it's worse than football, right? It's worse than being a motherfucking, you know what I mean? It's worse than like fucking training for a sport, right? Like I get into myself in the fight shape every once in a while, and it's fucking hard. It sucks. It hurts. It's miserable. Going to work as an order selector is 12 hours a day of sprinting, right? To make money. And literally, like, you get paid by the case, right? Because, like, that's how they incentivize individuals to make money. And if you're making 10 cents a fucking case and you pick 3,000 cases a day, $300, it's good money. But that is 12 hours of fucking hustling, running, not giving up. Motherfuckers get hooked on meth to do that fucking job, right? That's kind of the deal, right? In the end of the day. So, like, what it is that these kids don't want to do those jobs because, like, they feel it's beneath them because they went and got a fucking degree in fucking underwater lesbian basket weaving, right? And that's really where we're at. Is that, like, we're running out of fucking workers to do this shit because the boomers are retiring, right? These kids are all went to college and we're asked to fuck out. You know what I mean?
I feel you, Tom. Let me toss out one little caveat here where because there were so many people who got useless degrees, and because there are so many diversity degree awards, let's just put it that way. Even people who went to college to learn something useful are still ass out of luck, because at this point, no employer looks at a college degree and thinks of it like it was something that was honestly earned. Right? And so even people who like grinded it out to go be an engineer or anything like that.
Candy said like skilled trades are where it's at. We need unskilled labor is the bitch.
Yep. Like,
you know what I mean?
yeah,
like,
I wish I had a HVAC cert. I really wish I had an HVAC cert. My life would be infinitely better. But I also recognize that in 5 years, when I have that certification, I might not actually be any better off than I am now.
I mean, like, I don't know. Like, I know, like, fucking, like, I'll be honest with you. Like, me personally, like, I did HVAC growing up because my dad was an HVAC guy. So, like, I was always on a job site. It was fucking miserable. You know what I mean? Like, I fucking hated, like, goddamn every minute of it. Like, it was terrible. But, like, the
money there comes if you've got your own company.
The basic premise, and this is where, like, Mike should start chiming in, right? Is where, like, what we should be getting back to as a whole, right? And this is where this economy is moving, is back to like what the economy was for like 5,000 fucking years, is that you can't have an economy of shit that just breaks and then you go get a new one. You fucking fix it. And you have a guy in your neighborhood who you pay to fix your shit, right? And like, that's really what it's going to need to come back to, because like if you're spending 25% of your income on food, that disposable income that you're using to, like, you know, pay for credit to buy fucking cheap plastic shit from China is going to be, you know what I mean, like, gone. And you're not going to be able to fucking maintain this economy of like consumption with that shit. Like, yo, Mike, Mike. Yo, this motherfucker ain't listening.
Speak, nigga, speak.
God damn it. Yo, fucking anyway. Right. So like anyway, yo fucking, but like that's really what it's really where this is at. You know what I mean?
Yo, I had the thing on mute on the StreamYard, bro. I was like, what the fuck's going on? My mic was unmuted, but the StreamYard was muted.
Lol.
All right. So like this is where this economics touches things that you can talk about, right? Yeah. Like, you know, what up? Like where, like, you know, you move back to a system where, like, you know, you start like working on shit for your
look, in my logic, I've sat here and, you know what I mean, pondered this, right? There's only one way out of the problem. And it's that the system has gotten so fucked up, right? That we can't, you know what I mean, benefit from it no more, like, realistically.
Thank you.
So what we have to do is say, all right, well, what did people do before all this shit existed, right? And what they did was they homesteaded. And so people need to go back to homesteading and tell the system to go fuck itself until they sort their own shit out.
Yo, you telling people to go live in fucking sod houses and shit?
Yeah.
I mean, that is actually realistically pretty cool. And especially if you've got like modern concrete technology, that you can actually make something that's pretty fucking like, gangster. But
like, look at it like
I feel you.
He came out, right? Look at it like this, right?
Thank you.
So you go out and you basically, you got to imagine it like this. You get property and you go out and you start camping, right? And you play it like a video game, right? And you just keep upgrading your base, right? You know what I'm saying? And you just live in your own fucking world and you don't worry about the outside. You rely on the system when you need to, but your goal is to eventually be, you know what I'm saying, sustainable so you don't have to. It's the only move that you could really make, bro. Everything else is a bad
let me
move.
tell you what you're describing is decentralization, right? And like that's something I preached about for a long time is decentralization. Like I said that like when all these coal mines and steel mills and factories all shut down and ad hoc, like you can chime in too, by the way, man. You ain't just a narrator, nigga. Right? Like fucking like when all this shit shut down, what they should have did is they should have housed their fucking mortgages, cut their property, like eliminated their property taxes, handed them solar panels, you know what I mean, gave them seeds, you know what I mean, and training on gardening if they needed it. And you know what I mean, like really help them get back to normalcy. You know what I mean? Right? Because
I really feel
I
like
feel you.
I need to start pulling out the Division trailer because that shit is about 10 years old and it has aged like fine wine at this point.
Yeah.
Just
Just
because
gonna
it
cut in
talks
here
about
with
how it talks about
Right,
how
right.
fragile the entire chain of the American economy is
Yeah.
in like 2 minutes.
Something I'm gonna just like drop in here like a grenade real quick. Right now, a lot of retailers are selling solar panels at a loss because they stocked up too many of them and they didn't sell enough and they got more shipments coming. So
They were expecting the whole Green Deal to have passed by now, and that shit should have been selling like hotcakes. Surprise, it hasn't, and now they gotta get rid
So
of it.
like if you want solar panels and you want them at a reasonable price, buy them within the next couple of months, or else you're gonna get bent the fuck over. That's all I wanted to drop in there because I know how you like to offer investment advice, Pinoid.
Yo,
Well, yeah.
the move to
What
the
up?
homesteading, bro, the main purpose of it is that if it's done on a large enough scale, it completely, you know what I mean, shuts down the whole, you know what I mean, current system. Like it'll just fall apart.
But like even if you're shutting down the whole system, there's like month to month variation and bullshit. I'm saying like
Here's the
if
thing.
you're going to buy within the next 2 to 3 years solar panels, do it now.
I'm not worried about solar panels. I'm trying to explain, bro. You gotta essentially bite the bullet, right? Because we've been handed a pile of shit by the last generation. So now we gotta bite
Not
the
wrong.
bullet, right?
Y'all are talking past each other.
In biting the bullet, right? We have to essentially just, you know what I mean, suffer and struggle and leave our kids something better than a pile of shit. You know what I mean?
I feel you.
Which shouldn't be that hard.
Yeah. Like I'm saying, like for the like immediate term, if you want solar panels, buy them now because it's gonna be about as cheap as it's gonna be for the next while. Like you're 100% right on like the like philosophical and metaphysical aspects here. I'm just saying like the realities of supply and demand at this second say this is the best shot you've got at solar panels for like price per meter or whatever the fuck it is. So if you want to have them, buy them as soon as you can because they're about to go fucking tits up because China is locking down. They're not making any more. And the people who are selling them are trying to get them off of their fucking warehouses in order to make room for the next shipment that is already en route.
Yo,
Right.
Jim McIntosh,
And as soon as
I put the link in the chat for you, Jim McIntosh. You're interested in going over and subbing to his channel. You know what I mean? Please do so. Everybody should go sub, but you can't fool Pop's channel. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
yo, he's a
Jim's
boomer,
a great guy.
and yo, I'll be honest with you. Well, I'll be honest with you. And I mean, I go over to Pop's channel, and then me and him yell at each other like two Italians from across the house, and everybody just sits there like little kids in their fucking room, like, I want to get in the middle of mom and dad fighting. Like, yo, it's fucking hilarious and shit. But yo,
It's like Joe Rogan and Alex Tones.
Yo, Alex Tones. I'm gonna tell you what, folks, the interdimensional space demons are out all right, like, yo, but yeah, like fucking, you know, I'll be honest with you. And see, here's the thing, like, I'm fine with like, so I think the system we have where I am, right, is, you know, I mean, perfect, right, for like what we're supposed to have. Like, we have local retailers that sell parts and fix your fucking lawnmowers and fix your fucking tools and sell. Like I like literally like my little town has a bookstore, right? I go and I buy books for my kids and shit. You know what I mean? Like, and this is how it's supposed to work, right? You're supposed to have like, you know what I mean, like local shit where like you fucking get things like repaired and get things fixed. And you have like, I have local building companies, local flooring companies, local fucking stores, local fucking, you know what I mean, restaurants, local fucking ice cream shops. You know what I mean, just everything here is fucking local. Gaming, what up, man? Nice to see you out here. Right. And that's kind of where like you're supposed to be. Right. And that's kind
I
of
feel
the
you,
point.
Tom.
And you don't have that anywhere
Yeah,
else but
yeah.
fucking here, apparently. Apparently, this is the only place in America where this fucking exists because everybody else is like, oh, Tom lives in a utopia, right? And it's like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, this is
No,
how it's always
you
been.
live in Little Germany. That's where you live. Like, and let me tell you how I bettered my local fucking community. Fucking there's what we call a lending library on the corner of my fucking block. You know what those are?
Yeah. It's like a little
They're
like it would look like it's like a bird house, but it's like shaped like a fucking little house on top of a fucking pole or whatever.
yeah. So you know what I put in there the other day?
What'd you put
Michael Malice's book.
in Yeah, like
Oh,
you know, we have that too, but we actually have like a bookstore, right? That's ran by like a local guy, right? And like, you know, I go and I buy books from there and shit, you know what I mean? And you know, and I have like a local gun shop and I have like a local fucking everything's local. Like, why? Like, what happened to the rest of y'all that y'all don't have any of this shit?
Well, most like it depends on where you're talking about. Out here, it's mostly because like you things like chain everything has such a advantage when you're talking about at least in the middle section of America, right? Because the entire thing is a disjointed economic unit, meaning that any type of player that is able to bring to bear resources from beyond that region is going to have an advantage. Like any company that has access to resources, like I'm in Kansas, I'll be real here. I live in Kansas, and any company that is based out of Colorado, Oklahoma, Missouri, or North or fucking Nebraska, uh, any of those companies is going to have an advantage when opening up a branch in Kansas over a native Kansas branch, just because they're able to like link resources in from the neighboring state, right? And that's not something we can do internally here. So like what happens over here in micro happens everywhere else in macro. You happen to live in an area where you've got everything you need, and everything you don't need has to pass through you to someone else who needs it, right? So like you live in literally the shipping nexus of the fucking East Coast of America. Yeah, you're going to be able to be independent from other people. If you're talking about something like Oklahoma, Missouri, Arkansas, this type of place, they're not going to be able to exist as an independent economic unit because they need to be able to access other climates. They need to be able to access water sources. They need all this type of shit that you just fucking have.
Well, let me say this with Roots as well, because like Roots says he had the same thing. And I think part of the reason why like Roots had it isn't, I don't think it has to do with just the fact that like we have, you know what I mean, like shipping and shit. Yeah, I think it's because we have industry as a whole, right? Because Roots is from like fucking the Michigan area and shit. And so like I think it's literally like that you had industry in the goddamn area. You had shit that provided individuals a living to where like they could provide a livelihood for individuals who did that shit. Like they'd leave the place to go work elsewhere, but it wasn't far enough off that like, you know what I mean, like you would, you know, like you wouldn't fucking live there. I think that Illinois. Yeah. Fucking that's why. Yeah, legit. It's literally the fact that like there was fucking industry there. Right. And like Pennsylvania, like let's be honest here,
because
Pennsylvania began the Industrial Revolution in America. Right. Like we had the oil, we like Bethlehem Steel, Pittsburgh oil, all the shit. Like
you know what you're saying?
What?
You're saying idle hands are the devil's playground, which I don't know if you're aware is something that has been a truism for like centuries at this point. By the way, I think I figured out how to like be a boomer whisperer. Like the ideology is like you have 3 different points that you make anytime you're trying to say something to them. You give them an observation, a reason, and then you give them a truism. And if you link those 3 up, they will just believe anything you say.
Okay.
I just live in a historically black town that's a college nexus between 4 universities, so 98% of the people here believe in the progressive ideology.
We know you're a cuck, ad hoc. You don't have to keep
Why the fuck do you think I'm a cuck, dude?
Man, listen, that was an awkward silence.
That makes no sense.
Does that really? I don't think that question is worth.
Your words confuse and bewilder me. You keep using that word. I don't think you understand what it means.
Yo,
that
was motherfucking. Yo, we got a new person in the chat. What up, Tavelin? Yo, welcome to the motherfucking channel. Have a wrench. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, everybody gets a wrench here because this is a wrench no state. We feel that everybody has the right to speak. You know what I mean? Nice to see you out here. Welcome. You know what I mean? Welcome, my brother.
Good to have you, nigga.
Yo, yeah, hell yeah. Yo, you just like saying the word nigga, right? And like, yeah, like I've been to Allentown. I'm not a huge fan of Allentown, but like, did you know that motherfucking god damn it, shit, what the hell is his name? John DeLorean, not John DeLorean. Was it DeLorean? No, Lee Iacocca. Lee Iacocca was from down that neck of the woods, and he his dad still had, or his family still has Iacocca's fucking hot dog spots called Yakos. It's down off of 78 or off of exit 49. Fucking, you know what I mean? It's a landmark in Pennsylvania. Lee Iacocca is the guy who came up with the K card and say Dodge back in the 80s and shit. You know what I mean? For anybody that don't know, I'm a car guy. Like, it is what it is. But like, yeah, man, you know, I've been sitting here and like I've been thinking about this a while, and like, you know, me, like I've come up with a new name for my shit. It's reactionary communitarianism, right? And this mentality is the mentality of can you describe what the new right is? Well, optimistic pessimist, you know what I'm saying? That's kind of what we're doing right now, right? The new right is
Can I give a spoiler here, Tom?
Go ahead, man. Go ahead.
Yeah, the description is everything that's against the establishment and fucking neoliberal left. Like, that is the new right. Everything that is not what's in power now. As an in general thing, it's a very, very nebulous term. And that's why when they're describing these people, why they're all so massively, massively paranoid. Because a lot of them are going to be like Mr., you know, Nicholas J. Fuentes was with our good friend Mr. Medicare the other day, where he's just like popping off and saying, Nick is saying that he straight up flags and reports anyone who insults him. Like,
Who?
You gotta. Nick said to like God and everyone else on the stream that he straight up reports anyone who insults him online.
Why?
Right, and that because he's a butt mad faggot, I guess.
He's a bitch.
Yeah, he's a bitch.
That's a bitch.
But understand that.
Let me put this new right. Let me put this new right out. Right. So let me say. All right. So the heavy duty intellectual leaders of the new right are guys like Nick Land, Curtis Yarvin, Peter Thiel. Trying to think here.
Baron
Anybody.
DB on the outside.
I mean, like there's some smaller
He's the dude
YouTubers like
who
the Distributist, Charlemagne, Aaron McIntyre,
academic agent.
academic agent. Yeah, you're not wrong, right? So like that's
I know you hate that motherfucker.
yo, I do. I can't stand his voice. My name is the Rugged Communitarian on Discord. No, I don't remember talking to you, but like, welcome. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't really remember who you are. You know what I mean? Be honest with you. I apologize for that. I probably should remember you, right? But like, I'll be honest. I talk to a lot of people, so please don't be insulted by the fact that I just kind of don't remember you, right? It's a dark enlightenment, right? It's not the dark like intellectual web, right? It's not that shit. It's not, these radical centrists, right? Which we all kind of hate at this point, right? And that's kind of who we're doing battle with. Really in the end of the day, like
We are not Eric Weinstein.
yeah. Well, actually, I'll tell you who's been upsetting me lately is Stitch, right? Stitch and Adam Friended.
Stitch. Oh yeah. Like you're a little late on this one, actually. Like AA has been throwing shots at Adam and Stitch for months at this point. Months.
Jamie,
I even added
literally
you when
just
that
talked to
fucking.
you in the DMs earlier. What do you mean I never talked to you? I talk to you like every day. Every day we talk. Like, yo, what the fuck? Shut up. God, you fucking faggot. Jesus Christ. Anyway, right? So, like, goddamn John Lake Wazamo motherfucker. Goddamn Puerto Rican. Shit. Right? But, yeah, like, yo, all right, so what were you saying about Sitch, man? Like, yo, he's. Yo, I don't.
He's been a bitch. No, like he's been a bitch for a minute because like and this is one particular point that like I'm sure Ad Hoc remembers because I was giving him all sorts of shit on it where the it was the tomboy abs controversy which
Okay.
I'm sure you just fucking blew the fuck. Yeah. But like understand that like regardless of which side you come down on, and I'm not gonna lie, there are points on either side. Like Adam and Sitch went in hard on that topic for like a 6-hour stream. I'm not even gonna lie, and at no point did they ever actually make a point.
I'm going to be honest, I don't recall any of that.
I mean, like, all right, so like,
yeah.
Tapeland, here's the thing.
Probably
like,
how
so
much of a non-thing it even was.
All right, so like we're addressing
it
things,
was petty drama bullshit.
Like we're addressing this from our community, right? Like it's our neck of the woods on YouTube, the guys who we talk to, like like we deal with certain people on a regular basis, and like we as in like the people on this stream, the individuals in this neck of the woods, like so, like on the national stage, right? Like our ideology is the one that like we're looking at with the new right, right? Because like we kind of share the majority of the ideology of guys like Yarvin and fucking Teal and Nick Land and trying to think here, like who else is out there right now, man? Yo, TK, who else is out there who's really like a thought leader in this shit?
Oh, well, unfortunately, part of this whole nonsense is that, like, a lot of the people who are part of this aren't really a part of this, if you know what I'm saying. Where there's a lot of people who bring up points that are incorporated in a lot of this that aren't in any way actually associated with us. People like Peter Zion, and then there's of course like old people like Evola, this type of thing.
I mean, like, because like you gotta remember, like, yo, I come from like the Machiavelli shit, right? Like I'm an Italian school type of guy, right? And like that's really where like my appeal to Yarvin comes from, is because like, you know, like I really like you know, I mean, like Machiavelli and his works, and I study it heavily. Like even on my channel, like I have literally like a playlist of me breaking down books of Machiavelli, like The Art of War, and like Edward Bernays' Propaganda, you know. And I feel like that a lot of this, like, and I'll be honest with you, there's a lot of this new right where like some of it's kind of coming from pragmatic fucking like in like I want to say college people, like guys like Mark Blythe, right? You know what I mean, who are looking at this neoliberal led Ronald Reagan-esque system, Bill Clinton system, Obama system, Biden system, and everybody's looking at it and going like, this shit doesn't work for the average person, right? And then you look at
Thinking
guys
Biden
like,
even has a hand in this system.
I feel you, but it's his regime.
Uh,
You know what I mean? It's his regime. He's the figure face. Well, he's the fucking, you know what I mean, body bag in front of it or whatever, the meat bag, right? You know what I mean? So like it's kind of on that level where like we're standing here, we're looking at it, and we're going, yo, this system doesn't work for most human beings anymore, right? And like whether you're
Needs
coming
to
at this from the
die.
left, yo, no, he doesn't. All right, because nobody wants Kamala or fucking
No,
Pelosi. Like
I'm
literally,
not.
like
I'm not talking about Biden. I'm talking about the system. The system needs to die.
you're not wrong.
well,
Right? I'm with-
right.
and that's where I
So
was like, yo, I
what?
literally told Pops. I told Pops the other day, I was like, yo, look, they're like, all these Africans are gonna starve, and I was like, well, half of them shouldn't be alive in the first fucking place. You know what I mean? Like, yo, they're tied into these industrial inputs that they're fully reliant upon the rest of the world to provide for them. And if they're not there, it's literally like it's like if you feed ducks all summer long and like they never fly south for the winter and they come back in the winter and they freeze to death. Like because you didn't come outside and fucking feed them. You know what I mean? Like this is the goddamn problem, is that you can't sit here and provide for people if you're not going to do it for the rest of their lives. You know what I mean? Like if you can't do it
Yeah.
in perpetuity, and like the problem is like no one's looking down the road about what's coming. Everybody's worried about the next fucking quarter because that's what was set up under, you know what I mean, like guys like Nixon, Carter, Reagan, Bush, Clinton, fucking Bush, and Obama, right? Like nobody's looking at what's going on 10 years down the road demographically, right? They're just looking at what's going on right now. And I'll be honest, that's my biggest critique of Yarvin, is that like he doesn't look at the geopolitical factors of exactly what the situation is, right? And so, you know, attacking the right from the left as a rightist is fucking a crazy statement, right? As being somebody who's hard right, but you're attacking the system from the left, going like, oh, I'll be honest, none of this works for humans, right? And they go, wait, what? You know what I mean? It fucks them all up. And that's where everybody is. That's what like this whole new right is. It's literally a right-wing Marxist ideology, right? And what like, and a lot of people think that like, you know, like Marxism is, you know what I mean, the whole like identity politics, you know, fucking transgenderism. That's not Marxist at all. That's none of that, right? All that shit is postmodern, which is a whole separate fucking thing altogether. And people really
is-
have
Yeah.
a hard time. What up? Go ahead, man.
Specifically, what communism is supposed to be a conversation about how we deal with things once capitalism no longer works.
Yo,
And we're like,
here's
in
the
some
fucking
ways
problem.
we're at that point.
You
Right?
got right wing, you got left wing, right? The bird has fucking bird flu. You need to kill the bird. All right. It don't work.
Yeah.
So
My point was
all
more
bullshit.
my point was more that like not right wing, not left wing. It's a critique of an economic system, right? That's all communism really is saying, okay, how do you figure out how to make stuff work after capitalism is no longer.
Yeah, but that's
working.
part of the problem. You got too many people on this planet wasting their life trying to figure out, you know what I'm saying, smarter, fancier ways to fucking do shit, and you just really need to not do it that fancy and smart. Just go back to basics.
That's why it's like, yo, my mental is like, yo, we shouldn't be one thing, right? Because like with one thing, it has to be super complicated, because like in order for it to work, it all has to be like a very efficient, very fragile system, right? Like if you break this,
here we go again with that Division trailer.
Yeah, like if you break this,
and there's also
it has to be complicated, right? It's like, yo, you live how the fuck you live. You know what I mean? Like you live as your culture and your fucking geography dictates. Make it, and you'll be fine. That's the fucking problem. You know what I mean?
And there's also the issue of you can't, like, how can I put this? The problem with like Marxism and most of these like formalized communist ideologies, right, is that they're trying to centrally plan decentralization. And I think just by putting it that way, you can see how dumb of an idea that is.
Yep.
It doesn't matter, though. You're trying to change a world full of dumb people.
Well, I mean, people have always been dumb, so, like...
Which is why none of this smart shit ever worked.
No. What I'm saying is that, like, shit changes regardless of who does what, or who's smart, who's dumb, all this type of thing. So,
changes
like...
for the worst.
No, like... Things happen for the better, things happen for the worse.
No, it's only gotten worse since the beginning, bro. Trust me.
I think it's more of a random walk. I'm not gonna lie. I think sometimes it gets better. I think sometimes it gets worse.
I mean, there's things that got better, right? For instance, you know, I mean, like care for mothers giving birth has gotten better, right? You know, I mean, fucking like
infant mortality.
Yeah, like, you know, these things have like.
Why is it better, bro?
Why? Because more kids live now.
Yeah, but yo, you just explained how a lot of people.
Motherfucker, have you ever lost a kid?
You just explained it, bro. It's like feeding.
No. Like, motherfucker, answer the question. Have you ever lost a kid?
It's like feeding the ducks, right?
Losing a kid is like feeding the ducks.
So if you didn't have the problem, then you wouldn't have the population problem also.
Well, like, Mike, I get your problem. I get your ideology, right? But on the same point, you know, like what I'm saying is like there's advancements that have been made in civilization that are ultimately good for the people. You know what I mean? Like, but then again, there's a bunch of them that are really fucking tragic and terrible. You know what I mean?
For the majority, it's all bullshit. Like, you know what I mean? It all looks like it's good. It's like, yeah, we could feed the world, but like they organized it so well that they throw out 2/3 of the produce that they make, and it's all poison.
Like are you talking exactly right now, or are you talking like the last 500? Like, understand that when you say all of it, right? You're ruling out everything since we fucking got tossed out of goddamn Eden.
I'm ruling out all the waste of fucking time spent studying nonsense.
Okay, what year? What year do you want to stop it?
Be later regurgitated.
What year? What year do you want to just stop it at? Like, honestly, like I'm not trying to be an asshole.
All this shit, bro. You know what he's trying to say, bro. He tell you right up, yo. The fucking universities did it right. So
What year?
We don't need them, bro.
I'm asking you directly.
Bro,
what year do you want to
I don't care what you're fucking asking me. I'm not here to answer questions. I'm just fucking telling you what it is, bro. You can take it for what it is.
You're not actually
I'm telling you, this ain't a fucking interview, dog.
Well, no. It's
all right.
discussion.
You just
right?
don't want to actually. Yeah. Like,
wait. What he's asking is like, all right. So, at what point did it stop getting like? At what point did it like start getting worse?
So what are you specifically referring to? That's when we got, you know what I mean?
In general, you have just kind of...
Yo, now this is the thing. Now we got to waste more human breath on something that don't matter. This is my point.
When did people's way of life go from being all prosperous and happy to this dystopian nightmare?
There's
That's
no
the
one
question.
key frame in time when it happened. It all just happened because of
I can point to a
because
time
of
frame.
constant fucking people trying to do it better and smarter and fancier, and none of it ever worked because it failed.
Okay,
No,
so
I can
let's say
point
you
to a
have a
time
time
frame.
machine, right? You can go back to any time in the past, except for like the earliest time you can go is right after Adam got kicked out of Eden. You can't go back to Eden. That's the only thing you can't go back to, right? How far back do you go?
This is
Like, I'm not trying
I
to
said,
interview you. I'm just trying to figure out what you're trying to say.
you got to feel me on this, right? This is irrelevant to any of it.
No, it's very relevant because this is
How
the
is
nature,
I mean, like,
it's the nature of the beast.
how is my personal preference on a time period relevant to the world?
You made it relevant. You literally brought this one up.
I made it relevant.
You did.
Yeah, you said it's always gotten worse, and
It has.
that has a time
Okay.
component.
When
It
did
has.
it start getting worse?
It has.
When did it start getting worse, or has it ever gotten better?
Like, you can't make an open-ended statement without us making some extrapolations, right? Like, if I say every
DJ,
day gets
welcome, my
better,
brother. Have you a wrench? It's nice to see you out here, man. You know what I mean? Everybody gets a wrench because I don't want nobody to be silenced in this bitch. Welcome to the Wrench No State. All right, so I mean, like, Mike, you said
right.
it's been getting worse from the beginning, right? So
Yeah.
what's the beginning?
Is that
Like,
is that back during the
essentially,
days
yo-
of Egypt? Is it Babylon? Is it further up?
ad
Was it
hoc,
during the Middle
ad hoc,
Ages?
ad hoc. All right, so Mike, it got worse.
Yo,
from the beginning.
essentially when people went into what's referred to as, you know what I'm saying, the Babylonian agriculture and war system.
So it has never gotten any better.
That's when it really
is
started
worse,
to
and it has
get
stayed.
worse. You know what I mean?
Okay,
So,
so how is your idea of what happened before that time different than the Rousseauian ideal of like man in a state of nature?
like if you are
Is it
saying
different?
that agriculture is the point where it all went downhill,
No, I
how
didn't
was
say
it?
agriculture, yo. I
No,
said the
no.
Babylonian-
Fucking ad hoc. I'm actually legitimately interested in the question I just asked there. Like, I'm not trying to be an asshole.
I'm saying the
So-
Babylonian
so-
agriculture war system is when it really started to get fucked.
Right. So, like, what I'm talking about is like this primal state of man that you're talking about that we're descending from.
It's not.
Right.
It's not a primal state of man that I'm referring to.
Really is
okay.
actually.
Like it. Sorry. Like, if I got that wrong, I am legitimately sorry. Like, I know I'm stumbling over myself to like clarify, but like I am legit straight on this. I am trying to pin down what do you mean by it's gotten worse?
You're probably
Right.
So you have to understand that
Like,
there was
what,
a period in time when everything was in balance, right? And now everything is out of fucking balance.
okay, so you're talking about the Rousseauian ideal of the perfect man.
No.
No, like the perfect man is one that is in harmony with nature, in balance.
It's not-
this type of
it's
thing.
not-
Like
it's
it's
not
literally what you just
It's
described.
not that I'm referring to a man. I'm just
Where do you
trying to
wanna put that?
explain that.
Yeah,
there was a
like,
point in time
understand
when
that
it was in balance. I'm not saying.
Yeah,
I
like
know
that
what
was
that
the
was.
state of man. That is what you were describing. You are
I mean,
literally
you
describing
call it,
what.
you can call it that. You know. what I mean?
Like I'm
But I
not
couldn't
calling
tell you
this
what that
anything.
is.
I'm saying what a
Once we
philosopher
claim to know what
Rousseau,
it is,
who
right?
was very influential on
But
a
yo, we
lot
have
of these
no fucking
ideologies.
evidence for it, right? We have no evidence to even prove that it exists, so it's really hard to argue for its existence. You know what I'm saying? But we know that after the Babylonian agriculture system, we don't actually know what man was doing prior. We just assume this shit. You know what I'm saying?
Like we do have some indications in like the fossil record, genetic record, dental
Yeah,
record.
but if you're gonna say they're nomadic, right? Like that doesn't even agree with the nature of animals.
Well,
What do you
like,
mean? What do you mean?
Animals are not
Wait,
nomadic.
what
Animals
are you
don't
talking about?
migrate.
Like, yo,
What is
there's
this madness?
animals
It's
move
not
like
it's not
herds of
likely that
animals
if they had
move.
everything that they needed in a harmony, in a perfect harmony, that they would have to migrate.
why
No.
are
You
you
have to.
assuming that
You
humans
follow.
were ever in perfect harmony?
Yo, you
Like
follow.
that's where I
You follow
don't
your
get
food,
that.
right? You follow your food, like yo. As animals move, like from like herds move from place to place, you follow the herds, and I mean, and like you camp out and
Yeah,
kill
but
them,
yo,
like
Tom, I'm
what
trying
up?
to explain a very simple fact that the Earth was in a different state. We think that the Earth was kind of like it is today, right?
Hey.
It wasn't even nearly
What are you
like
doing?
that. You had fucking giant fruit trees. Like one tree would feed a whole motherfucking village easily. You know what I'm saying? I'm
Yo,
talking
but only
giant
for so
fruits. I'm
long.
talking,
Like
you know what I
you
mean?
got to remember, like so, like fruits are like flowers, right? And so, like fruits only grow during certain parts of the year, right? So, like
What
it
I'm
would
trying to
only
say is,
feed
bro,
you.
there was a different climate. We have fucking palm
No,
trees under the Arctic.
well, like yo, but that was a long, long time ago. That's not like at the time when
No,
human
I'm trying
beings
to say
existed.
that this is all lies, bro. They've lied to everybody. You know what I'm saying? So when we sit here and try to actually debate it, right? Yeah, we can sit here and debate it, but you're gonna require information that's gonna come from the Ministry of fucking Lies, and I can't provide that
Like
for you.
yo, I
No,
mean, like, all right. I mean,
we're
like
If
not
your whole
asking for
framework is based
information.
on fancy lies, bro, how can I teach you the truth? Your cup is full with nothing.
The problem is you're not only not providing what we ask as far as substantiation, you're not providing anything with
All right, yo,
response
look,
to it.
let me
Like,
let me let me
understand that
say, yo, let me say when I think like shit got real fucked up, right? I want to say it was around like the fucking 1400s when shit went really sideways for humanity, right? And I'm gonna tell you why. Because between 900 and 1400 in the area between fucking Sicily on the south side, and this is European because like we're gonna talk about the people we come from, right? It's Sicily on the south side to Russia on the
did that
motherfucking.
Chitalian just admit to being a barbarian?
No, I'm admit to being like a descendant of the Romans, right? From Sicily on the south side to the
Roman
motherfucking
rape
to
babies.
The Russians on the fucking east side to you know what I mean the motherfucking to the goddamn fucking Atlantic on the west, right? Literally, the majority of it were just towns living by them. Excuse me, towns living by themselves, right? And so like it was unruled, right? Literally, like they had fiefdoms and kingdoms, but ultimately outside of the castle walls, the king had no dominion, right? And day to day, you lived as you lived. Like you weren't forced to like work to pay taxes or work to stand here and provide for somebody to fuck else. Like you worked for your family and your community and you relied on each other and you took care of each other. And I think
Under English law.
there's no
Yeah, under English law.
counting England in this, right? As a whole,
Oh,
right?
sorry. Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. It,
There were no
can
countries,
anybody
there
else
were
hear
no
him?
states. Yo, am I here?
You're here. I hear you.
Yo,
All
here's
right,
the
can you hear me?
reality. A bunch
There
of
were no
people
states.
getting
There were no states and no countries at that time.
yo.
What up?
Here's the
No states
reality,
in the
right?
modern sense.
A bunch of people, right, owning their own land, providing for their family, and prospering doesn't benefit people who want to fucking parasite up off it. So that's the reason why they don't want you to do it.
I mean,
Like there's no profit. Like they could get you on maybe land tax, but that's about it. And their shit falls apart because they need all this other bullshit to fuck with you. They need you to get pulled over. They need all of it. And when you don't do
it's
it,
more of that. Unfortunately, for at least the upper class, it is more worthwhile for a piece of property to sit vacant and be basically on their asset books than
Yo,
it
you know, there's
is
a point
to
in
actually
engineering, right? When engineers are developing something, right? And when they have to keep fixing problems on this, you know what I mean, machine, at some point, they rework it from the foundation if it ain't working. And this is the biggest problem, yo. This shit, you could keep slapping duct tape and glue and fucking spare parts, but you can't fix this shit. It's broken at the core. So you just need to redo the whole shit.
As far as the financial system, yeah, that's been the case for like
the education system, the financial, just everything, the social, like it's all fucked. Is what I'm trying to explain to you.
Well,
yeah.
I mean, like,
I'm just saying, as far as what I can put a point to.
Well, like, here's the thing: this whole system is built on the idea of like fucking perpetual capitalism, right? And like, I know people go, "Oh, you know, fucking, you know, socialism is terrible." It is, right? Socialism and communism is trash, right? But like, the idea of perpetual capitalism is that you will have perpetual growth forever because demand is infinite, right? So like, if demand isn't infinite anymore, right? Because like exponential growth of population isn't infinite anymore. What the fuck do you do? You know what I mean? And that's the point where we are right now. Because like what we're running into at the moment is that we need like more workers and we don't have them, right? And everybody's going, we don't want more immigration. And there's not enough people here. So like now it's costing more to hire individuals, but like there's not more people to sell to. So the entire system is built on bullshit. And that's why it is you haven't got a raise since 73. And I'm putting this in a lot of my videos. Like, you know, right now, 30% of our population are foreign born. Right?
Yo, Tom.
What up?
What happens, right, to a, like, let's say a generator, right? That needs more fucking power than it's making. What happens to the whole circuit?
Yo, it fucking fries.
Exactly. And that's what you're seeing, you know what I mean? Like you're saying, they need work, right? But they need more money than they can pay to hire people to fucking work. They need the money because they're bills. You get what I'm saying? They're fucking lavish lifestyles that need to be supported. You feel me? So there's more fucking draw on the system than there is going in. It's gonna fry.
Well, like part of this here is like it. I'm gonna be real here. Like you're not wrong, Mike. As far as like people don't need as much as they're using right now, but part of the issue is kind of like you were saying, like how. Let's look at this from another angle. How could we give people money, or how could we set it up so people could get money in order to just keep themselves just above the level when they're like developing land, right? Like, is there a way that we can like pressure, you know, city, state, national level politics to enable this type of thing?
No.
Like,
no.
City level.
No.
Go for it.
The problem is because the higher ups, the elite, they want all the money. They have to have all the money.
Yo, that's not it. That's not it. Yo, here's the thing. So like literally like the individuals who are in charge of the system, the bureaucrats, right? And you know what I mean, like the oligarchs, as it were, right? The problem is that they're in charge of this system. And like the only understanding that they have is this system. Like they don't like to switch them into something else literally would like cause them to like no longer have the same place that they have in society today. So like there's
they don't even
alternatively
they don't even understand their own system at this point.
Right.
It's all they know, but they don't even know how to they don't know how to maintain it, and that's why it's falling apart now.
They know perfectly well how to maintain it. It's just
why is it falling apart if they have
the system itself is broke?
Right. So like it doesn't. So like there's this here's a
They know how
motor
to
metaphor
maintain it.
for
They haven't done
Well,
proper
one sec.
maintenance in years.
No, ad hoc. Like, understand that there one motor, the way it worked was that the previous generation motor was made in such a way that the pistons rotated down through the oil pan, and of course it had proper clearance for that. But it also meant that like oil got splashed up on the inner side of the crankshaft and all this type of thing, and it ended up gumming up the works a little bit. And so every so often you would have to like clean it out and rebuild the engine and shit, right? And so what they did was the next generation of engine, they just built it so that the stroke would be shallower in the pan, but that meant that like the top half of the piston never got greased, and that meant that the engine just broke a lot quicker instead of just needing to clean it more often.
Yeah. What
So
I'm talking about.
what we're talking about here is that like the problem is not the maintenance, the problem is not what fuel you're putting in it, this type of thing. The problem is that the system is not something that you can actually maintain. Like, it's going to break no matter what you do.
Anything will break no matter what you do at some point. There is a point of failure.
Am I on point on here, Tom?
All right. So like, let me put this better in a car metaphor, so like you understand it better. What they did was, all right, is they built a system that literally like they built a car, all right, and when they built this car where it would have a one of a kind fuel pump, right? But as the car ran more and more and more, the fuel pump ended up getting clogged, right? So like the fucking engine would like get less gas, right? But like the only way they could continue to run the car was to continue to fucking like stand here and keep the throttle on. It's like having like an old car where like literally like yo, you had to fucking keep your foot down on the throttle to keep that bitch running because it wouldn't idle, right? Because like our car does not idle. So like what the problem is like yo, now the fuel fucking pump is completely clogged and it fucking welded into the goddamn gas tank, and they cannot get the motherfucker out. Like there's no way, because like they literally can't stop and replace it because they don't have any way to do it. That's where we are right now. The system is fundamentally broken.
Maybe a better way of thinking about this.
No. That actually works, TK. It actually works.
No.
Think of it like people.
I got that, but like maybe it'd be a better way to think about it. Like instead of like trying to look at it as far as an engine,
Bro,
maybe we should
a guy that's constipated and taking painkillers for the pain of his constipation, thus further constipating him.
Right. No, I was thinking maybe we could look at this like any other natural resource that we might use. And we could say that, like, okay, what happened was we built a system around like a spring that just popped out of the ground. And we had a bunch of businesses that were using water out of that spring. And now that spring is drying up and we need to figure out what the fuck to do.
Yeah, that also makes a lot of sense because you got all the old people still trying to pump out of that one spring they know. And nobody's looking around for a different spring. And we're all trying to fight over how to use the last of the spring water.
Yeah.
Here's the problem, right? So, like, what they found out with MMT, right? And, like, this is a dirty little secret that, like, economists don't want to tell you, all right? Is that with MMT, you can spend money on anything, or currency as it was, on anything except people. Like, yo, you cannot give money to people. That is the secret that they found out with MMT. So, like, it's really simple. You can give money to banks. You can give it to fucking airline companies. You can give it to military infrastructure. You can give it to other countries. You can take the money and motherfucking, like, piss on it and then dump it in the ocean. Does not affect your motherfucking goddamn inflation. But the moment you give money to people, it fucks the whole shit up, right? So like they're caught between a rock and a hard place where literally they know they can't give out any more motherfucking welfare, right? But like they can help out like the top end, but they can't do shit for the bottom. And so like now we're on a level where the government can't help you. And it's not a moral issue, it's a fucking fundamental like fucking institutional issue. And like all this shit is like coming out because like it's all like now like really being studied to understand like what actually drives inflation, right? Because like me and TK had like a really long talk about this, and I put up a video of it. You know, what I mean, I don't know if y'all watched it, but like it's really simply put, inflation is the fucking availability of currency to the fucking average citizen, right? And like so basically the premise is if you can't get your hands on the money to buy something, the fucking price doesn't go up because you don't raise demand, right? Like, yo, but the moment they give you money, what it does is number one, it rises demand, but secondly, right, it causes a fucking fluctuation in labor prices because all of a sudden you no longer need to go to work, right? Because like, yo, you're literally costing labor more fucking money.
It makes sense when you really kind of sit down and think about it a little bit. Because when people have the
Yeah.
purchasing power, then they'll go out and buy stuff. Of course,
It also kind of makes you want to vomit when you think about like the incentives that this kind of structure sets up.
yeah, it's like making them.
It's almost like it will turn
they make
men
you
into
work.
women and women into suicidal wine ants.
The incentive there is that they pay you just enough that you keep working, and you're stuck working paycheck to paycheck.
I was more meaning on like
broken. And so like this is why, Mike, we talk about macroeconomics here, right? You know, because he was bitching earlier about like before we started the stream about like, yo, I don't know why we got to talk about this because it's important for motherfuckers to understand where we are, right? And this is what the new right is as a whole, is understanding this shit, right? And so like basically the premise is that the government is fucking fundamentally unable to help you, right?
I mean, they
can't help you.
There is one major way that it could definitely help everyone of like common origin, and that
By
is
stopping existing.
to die. Yeah.
So if government really can't help anybody, why do we keep giving it more power?
Because momentum is a
because
bitch.
people are just too stupid.
No, momentum is a bitch.
So like, all right, I was
like, have you ever ran at something or another and then tried to make a sharp turn and then you just keep going in the direction you were running? Yeah, that's what's happening with our government.
I know what momentum is. Okay.
Really? I thought you had an anime avatar and therefore had a 10 IQ.
Yeah, see that's the problem, TK, is that I kind of subvert those.
You subvert our expectations.
I try to. I'm not always successful, but I try.
All right, so
beat
like
my expectation by a whole 100%.
With that being said, let's address like the other, monkey in the room, which is our new motherfucking head of motherfucking governmental disinformation motherfucking board, right?
Yeah, like the chick who decided to rhyme at us in order to explain things.
Because I was over on Aaron McIntyre's stream earlier, right? I sent him a $5 super chat. I was like, yo, nigga, y'all sound retarded, right? But like they were saying,
I have not seen a single thing he's ever put out.
I like
bother?
Shit usually. Yeah. Some of his shit's really good, right? Because he has distributed and what the fuck's that guy's name? Charlemagne on a regular basis, right?
Okay.
Charlemagne's awesome.
I'll definitely check
awesome. That. Right. But anyway, I was over there today and they were talking about how like fucking that broad is like part of bio-Leninism, right? And like I was like, y'all are retarded. Like the truth is like she is the end result of. Please, nobody in the chat get mad at me for this. All right, like I know we're all white folks here, but like she is the end result of white Anglo-Saxon liberal education. Right? She is what you fucking. This is what that fucking system spits out. Right? It literally is.
Okay.
That's
I
what
mean,
it
I'm gonna
spits out
go
from your
on
mouth.
the I'm gonna go to the mat here actually. Like since you explained this to me the first time, I've actually been thinking about it, and I think they might actually have a point. And I'm willing to call you out on this one because the ideology of bio-Leninism is simply that the state invites those who have no other option into itself because those people are the easiest to control. And she is actually a pretty obvious example of this because she's like a 40-something childless woman who keeps lying about her age.
So she's a useless idiot that is into the state's proxy. Why are we surprised by this?
Yeah.
Well,
The entire thesis of bio. Wait. The entire thesis of bio-Leninism is not, why these positions exist, why these people exist. It's just why A plus B equals C here, right? So if you're talking about a position that exists in a democratic society that is fundamentally fucking degenerate, right? You're talking about a position of censorship that's going to
yes, we've all heard about the diversity and inclusion initiative offices.
I like
we
to use
know
big
this.
words.
We're not surprised.
Right.
They make me sound more photosynthesis.
Yeah. So basically what happens is people who tend to be dysfunctional tend to be more likely to be involved in these types of politics because they don't have any other way of getting ahead in life. Because if you cut your dick off and call yourself a woman, there's not a huge number of private businesses that are jumping at the chance to hire you for obvious reasons. So what happens?
Wait.
Again, why?
Bruh, I do not think that's the case at all. I think this bitch could get a job at any fucking company she wants to fucking get a job at, and she would be a middle manager somewhere.
Right. But you're talking about what's basically a government position anyway.
It is pretty much a government position.
What I'm saying is,
no. Like that's the point.
Yo, look, seriously, stop.
Like
stop
that's the point.
I want to know. I want to make a point, right? This is important, right? What I'm saying is she is a perfect fit for this system, right? It's not a perfect fit for the government. It's a perfect fit for everywhere, right? Because like we were talking about this earlier, and me and you have both run into people like this, right? And I know Mike has ran into people like this in the suburbs in some places, right? And these are people who you would stand here and you would run into in a church group, for instance, in the suburbs somewhere. Now, like, I never met any of these type of people until either A, I was in like junior high, right? Or B, I was in motherfucking like the suburbs, like later on in like my high school days. So basically the principle is that she is the end result of being in a society where she is completely protected, right? Because like if she was allowed to be around savages, right? Like the motherfuckers who I came up around and the people who I'm around on a regular basis, she would not exist as a person, right? Because like the thought pattern of standing here singing a motherfucking song about fucking, disinformation on TikTok as a government employee in public, right? And like I can understand singing a song in like a Sunday school class, right? Or singing a song in like a kindergarten class, like like when you're talking to your kids, and you're like, I'm with my 4-year-old or my
black and
3-year-old,
yellow, kill a fellow. red and
Or like,
black.
well, yeah, or like,
Jack.
clean up, everybody clean up, right? Because like
Yeah,
your
yeah,
fucking
that's more like it.
children, right? Your children, you know what I mean? And like, you want to fucking stand here and put them in a good mood and whatever it is, and you got to lead them into the fucking way that they need to be because you got to change their mental, right? She's literally thinking that this does this for human fucking adults, right? And like people let her get away with that without questioning it, right? And like this is very, very prevalent in the majority of companies that you go to in middle management. This would be acceptable fucking behavior, right? And this is why I'm saying this is the end result of, our fucking culture. Well, the English fucking, heritage of the culture, protecting people to the point where literally, like, they're fucking infantilized as full grown fucking adults and shit, right? And allowed to walk around and not be fucking questioned.
I'm gonna go ahead and slap you down with another AA quote here and say, law is downstream from culture. Like a lot of what you're talking about are legal precedents that ended up affecting the culture.
The AA is
I am
program.
sitting here trying to figure out why everyone here is expecting me to be surprised at the proverb of those who can't teach.
I mean,
There's a comma in there.
I'm not
Is a
saying that
brain-
law. I'm not saying that
brainwashing
law is
program.
downstream from culture, but what I'm saying is if that you create an environment so
No,
goddamn
like-
safe that nobody's allowed to like fucking like, be even like remotely rough with an individual, it's going to change how.
yeah. My point was simply that the legal system of English common law will trend to this type of thing, right? That's all I'm trying to point out here. Because once you decide to adjudicate everything on the harm principle, which has its merits, right? There are a lot of, like, let's be real here. If you see two kids who are like having a scuffle, part of how you're going to decide how to react to that is, okay, which one of them is going to be hurt more? That's not an invalid way of assessing anything, right? I'm not saying that. But the fact is that English common law puts that as the de facto standard for adjudicating everything, and that has a lot of implications that end up dealing with these things like this.
This is not where I'm going with this, right? So, like, okay, let me break down this thought pattern in my head so you understand where I am, because I think we're on two different templates at the second. Because like this ties into my ideology.
Yeah, I'm right and you're wrong.
Right? No, well, man, listen, I'm not putting it there, right? Because like, so the beginning is where you are, right? And I mean, like the English common law of like, don't do harm, right? That starts off in, the fucking 1600s, goes at 1718s, right? And like, so as we became more industrialized, and then we had World War I and II, and we dropped the bomb, and government went from being a entity that was literally just there to conduct war to being an entity that is literally shaping society, right? And it had a lot of steps in this process. You know what I'm saying? Like you had, the Reconstruction era in the US, and you had motherfucking like World War I and the taxation. You had fucking like the implementation of the IRS, the Federal Reserve, right? This started with like Woodrow Wilson with like the scientific fucking mentalities and shit. And then it went into FDR, with his, like New Deal practices. But like it got to the point where literally like we offloaded our entire structure of our families and communities to the fucking government, right? And this mental got to the point where literally now like instead of your husbands and, you know what I mean, the fathers and the grandfathers and the uncles in your community making your community safe, it went to the fucking police and the government making it safe. And in some places, it became a planned structure before the fucking community was made to make it safe. You know what I mean? You're talking about like pre-planned communities and like fucking, you know, like these fucking suburbs and shit, where literally like anyone can walk around, the streets are well lit, you know what I mean? Fucking there's never any crime. If even if like a child does something wrong, he's gonna fucking be punished for it, right? The neighbors have no idea who each other the fuck are, right? And it breeds these type of women, right? Where literally like they've never been questioned on anything ever in the history of people, right? And they're completely safe to say whatever the fuck it is they want to say. No matter what happens, they will never have anybody stand here and fucking like look at them, right? And this mental of mine is going, well, I think that like it's literally like that she's a product of our policing and our newer communities that we have today, right? Because like this would be fucking unacceptable 100 years ago for a government employee to say some shit like this. You know what I mean? And that's kind of where we're at. You know what I mean? Am I wrong?
Okay, and the entire yeah, you're not wrong. And what I'm going to say is that the bioleninism thesis doesn't actually contradict that. You're just explaining where she came from. The bioleninism thesis is explaining where she got to.
Okay.
Well, I
I
think
got
the testicular fortis doctrine of the, you know, the nomads of the plains of the
Intellectual
eclectic
conversation as always, Mike. I
of the
appreciate you.
eclectic Spaniard Treaty of '08.
Oh shit, man. PJ
Ecuadorus,
Luda's
and yes.
over on motherfucking Twitch watching us. Welcome, Twitch. Y'all, it's nice to see you, man. Listen, y'all, man, listen,
Sup?
we're live on Twitch and YouTube. You know what I mean? Like, I'll be going live on Twitch. You know what I mean? When I go live, because, yo, I can do that. You know what I mean? Like, it just lets you. I don't have to do anything extra. So,
All right, guys, try not to drop any N-bombs.
nigga, 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 nigga. Pops is over here. You know what I mean? Like, I gave him a link earlier. You know what I mean? Fucking.
Yeah, what, Pops? The Death Star is flat.
You know, there's no real pictures of the Death Star. You know what I'm saying? They all composites and shit, right? Yeah, you know, and like that's like
You know, Death Star
mental,
actually
like
is flat.
my mental shit is just like, man, listen, like, you know,
Sure it is.
I try to like I'm trying to separate out like fucking postmodernism and Marxism as much as possible, and like just kind of like get that Florida man right, fucking, and try to get this like shit proper, right? Till we're like we know what's what rather than just blaming everything on one thing. And this is where like I get in the argument with Pops and shit. Is like, you know, he's like, it's the devil, right? You know what I mean? At the end of the day, and I'm like, bruh, it's not the devil, it's not evil. There are literal functions behind all this shit that we have to look at so that we can go, next time we're not going to do this because it causes fucking this. You know what I mean? That's where I get to.
Never
Yeah,
attribute
like-
never attribute to malice what can be explained by stupidity.
Read Das Kapital. It will change your life, not because you're convinced by any arguments that he brings up, but that you realize that he has a point and is just completely incapable of addressing any of the problems that he brings up. And that's really fucking depressing.
Yeah, like, you know, I just like I'm not gonna stand here and go like, oh, they're just evil. I'm like, bro, let's look at like the functions that make them act the way they do, because like there are functions behind all of this fucking shit, and like once you start addressing them, like then you can literally like sort out what is evil and what is just really bad incentive structures in our system. You know what I mean?
Again, never
just-
attribute to malice what can be explained by stupidity.
It's not
Or
stupidity. It's
incompetence.
literally bad incentives.
Is
Jesus.
it stupidity if they buy into it, even though you've explained that it's
No,
stupid?
because it's profitable.
Well, no. Yeah. Like, imagine this ad hoc. Instead of the natural way of doing things, like you are now Krispy Kreme donuts fucking Instagram model or something like that, where they will give you $1 for every Krispy Kreme donut that you consume.
Hey, yo, Krispy Kreme, hit me up.
Yeah. So like at some point in time, that's going to be a bad incentive because there are a certain amount of donuts you can eat in a day and still be healthy.
True.
Right. And so like the problem is you've got a really bad incentive to eat a shitload of donuts because then they're going to give you more money.
How
That's
much
the
ass
same.
can you eat a day and be healthy? I just want to know.
No, I mean, at the same
none-
time, investing
none-
in me and as a salesman
answer
is a
that.
bad idea. I can't do sales. I fucking cannot do sales. I
Well,
hate
no,
it.
No,
it's-
they just film you eating it and then they would post that as an ad. And I'm not going to lie, like that would blow up on the mukbang channels and they would sell a shitload of Krispy Kremes.
Yep. And that's where they are, right? Literally, like, what they're doing is they're paying, even if they're paying, you say they pay you $20 a donut, right, to eat a donut, right? And you're like, or like, say they pay you $1,000 a donut, like, and it's even worse. The more money you make, the worse it gets because, like, you're like, oh, $1,000 a donut. Like, if I eat 1,000 donuts, I get a fucking $1 million, right? But then, like, after the 500 donut, you're like, oh my god, like, I need to go to the doctor. There's something wrong, and he goes, you got diabetes. Right, you know what I'm saying, and that's where like it's just really bad incentives and shit. You know what I mean? Like that's kind of where shit is. Like motherfuckers.
I think they should take pictures of the shits they take after the mukbangs instead of the mukbang itself.
Exactly. Like I love that Pinoid immediately picked up on how to escalate that to the appropriate level.
Yeah. You know what I mean? And like that's literally what it is. It's like, yo, it's just really, really bad incentives, right? Yo, Pops, man, listen, I showed out your channel earlier, bro. I got you some new subs today. Right. But like it's the level of where, like, so if you're just you want to literally like have your stock price go up for the next quarter, right? And that's all you care about is that fucking stock price goes up for the next quarter, you're going to end up with some really broken shit happening, right? Because like if you don't do it, the next person will you'll get fired, the next person will do it. You know what I mean? And like that's really where shit is. You know what I mean? Is that like you just end up with some very terrible fucking structural problems in your society and in your entire economy if you're only worried about fucking 3 months ahead of the time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, if you're gonna go all the way down into the computer science bullshit, what's wrong is that the fitness function is completely fucked.
The irony is not lost on me, TK. I know all about people who make 10-year plans and don't stick to them. I am a gamer.
They don't even look at that.
Like
they stop looking at it.
The
quarter.
Yeah,
quarter. Like that's it.
Quarter.
Yes,
Yeah,
I know, because
pretty
they
much.
put out those 10-year roadmaps and they don't stick to it. That's the irony. I'm aware of it.
They don't even care about the 10 years.
Well,
Right,
it's not even that. That the 10-year is an afterthought that they do as an extrapolation based on this next quarter and the next maybe 4 quarters. And they just extrapolate that out linearly. And one of the best things I've ever heard is that if linear extrapolation was enough to figure out markets, then everyone who owned a ruler would be a market genius. That's not how the world works. Like, people forget that, like, there are inventory cycles, there are capital cycles, there are all these types of things that are moving pieces in actual businesses. And part of the problem is that in the interest of just getting number go up continuously, we've pushed these things out into the margins, and put them on leverage. So if these things swing very slightly, it just fucks the entire thing up. Like, understand that like the actual demand for transportation going up or down by 50% fucks up the system the same amount, right? And either are as likely, right? Am I just babbling at this point, Pinoid?
Yeah, a little bit.
No,
I want to address. I
no,
want to address
he's
Pops'
making
point,
sense.
right? I want to address Pops' point. You said they're sticking to their new world order they told you about 20 years ago. Well, technically, Pops, it was 30 years ago. I want to put that out there, right? It was 30 years ago. And so, like, okay, this started off with George Bush, right? This whole new world order, right? And they're like, we're gonna start a new world order. It's gonna be 1,000 points of light, right? And basically, what this was, and like we literally
Jew World Order.
we cover a guy named Peter Zehan on this channel, right? And Peter Zehan is a geopolitical strategist. And basically, the Bretton Woods system collapsed, right? Twice. First in 1972, when we weren't able to like maintain the fucking gold reserves to be able to have enough cash to be able to fucking let individuals cash in their dollars for fucking gold, right? And then the second time it collapsed is when the Soviet Union fell, right? Because literally, like, you had two parts to it. One was a monetary, and the other one was a fucking global trade incentive for fucking military policy, right? It was literally just to fight the Soviets. Like, everybody, you guys, motherfucking, like, yo, we'll guard your trade routes and do all this shit as long as you fight the Soviets for us. Well, the Soviets collapsed in 1993, right? 1992, 1991, 1989. Around these years, they collapsed a whole bunch of times, right? And when it was all fucking said and done, it was finally just Russia again instead of the Soviet Union. We ended up with a problem. Okay, so we have this giant apparatus, like, where we're protecting the entire world's trade. And we didn't sit here and like go, what are we going to do now? Because like there's literally nothing in it for us anymore. Right? And George Bush was like, well, you know, we need a new world order because like the original world order is fucking broken now. It doesn't work anymore. Like, because Bretton Woods was the fucking world order. Right? And yeah, oh, yeah, I know, Pop. Right? You'd be in here going blah blah blah, right? And so like literally like how he was like George Bush was like, yo, this is a senior. He's like, we need a new world order because the old one fell apart and broke. And so like we didn't address it at all, right? We kind of just let it run on autopilot with nothing for the United States. Right? We just like we held up world trade and allowed all of our jobs to get shipped overseas. We're automated and like had to compete with the rest of the world and destroyed our manufacturing base because we had no parts of addressing any of this. Right? We literally didn't have any conversation at all because the thought of New World Order, you know, I mean, brought up an ideology of, you know, fucking Orwell and all this other shit that we really were fucking terrified of. And we need to stop being scared of these things and address them for like what they are. Right? And have these conversations as adults and understand what we're doing. You know what I mean? I think,
Yeah.
does that make any sense to y'all?
Just
Mike, does that make any sense to you, Mike?
I think. Yep.
Thank you.
Yo, I'm just saying, bro. There's really these fucking, you know what I'm saying, transdimensional beings invading us from another dimension, you know what I'm saying?
It's the interdimensional space
right
here, spirit cooking children, folks. All right, I got a documentation right here. All right, they're coming in. They're going to turn your apartment buildings upside down. They're going to fill them in water. All right, and they're going to put in the chemicals to turn individuals gay. All right, they're going to put in frog DNA into the water to turn individuals into gay frogs. All right, there's going to be a whole bunch of gay frog people inside of the apartment buildings. It's the Agenda 2035, 33 minus 13, still 33. It's high level Masonic motherfucking numerology. All right, folks, I got a document right here.
I think a good analogy here would be like, just like a bunch of you probably are continually being charged for Amazon Prime just because you forgot about it. Our country has been charged for like this entire world order thing that we held up during the Soviets because we just don't think about it. and it's something that we just keep paying for.
Yeah. I'm gonna tell you what. I actually have 2 Netflix accounts. One that I gave to a bitch who I don't even think she uses it anymore. You know what I mean? Because like I didn't want my fucking broad that I had at that moment to know that I was paying for that bitch's Netflix. Right? You know what I mean? And like it just keeps charging me on a regular basis for it. It's fucking retarded. like I have shit like
Same
I
thing,
literally
just on.
I had my NFL like during the NFL season, I order YouTube TV, right? To like fucking be able to watch the NFL games because I don't have cable. And like literally, like I fucking had to stand here and just cancel it this month because I was like, fuck, they hit me for a fucking $60 again, and I didn't have it. Right. You know what I mean? Like that was my last $60 and they banged out my whole account. I was like, fuck. You know what I mean? I was pissed the fuck off and shit. Like, yeah, it happens all the goddamn time.
Yes, same concept, except it's on a nationwide scale, and we get banged for like a couple million at a pop, and like a couple dozen of our sons.
Yeah.
Like it's not quite as funny when you put it that way, but same concepts.
Yeah, it's nothing funny about dead sons. You know what I mean? Like, unless like it's like literally like a dead sun, as in like a fucking like a heavenly body full of gaseous vapors. You know what I mean? And technically, that word shouldn't even rhyme on paper.
No, like unfortunately that's just the case at the moment, is that like we're not just paying for this world order that like we're propping up the corpse of with just money. We're paying with the lives of like servicemen. Like
Well,
we
that
still
you know what I
have
mean, and
people.
like and the poverty in America that it causes, where you know what I mean, it sits there and you know what I mean, like destroys like lives and families and communities and closes down factories and
Opiates.
yeah, opiates and fucking drug abuse and fucking drug cases and drug trafficking and fucking border violence over the fucking cartel lands and you know what I mean, there's a lot of fucking parts where like it really fucks us up as a whole. You know what I mean? And we don't have
Yeah,
these
yeah,
conversations. You know what
Cheese
I mean?
strings.
Yo, there's cheese,
exactly.
string cheese.
I like string cheese. It's good.
Me too. I'll be fucking that shit up, man. I'll be buying it for my kids and eating all of it myself. I'm a terrible parent.
I just get to eat all of it myself because I have no kids.
How was that Philly cheesesteak you were gonna go get?
I ended up getting some wings and some fucking cheese fries. You know what I mean? Instead of the wings. Instead of the fucking cheesesteak.
Dang.
I was like, yo, fuck
Dang.
it. I'll be loving some wings. To be a fact, I still got some out. I ain't got no goddamn microwave. Motherfucker.
Just remember, Tom, the chickens have no knuckles.
I threw a frozen pizza in a cast iron pan, and I'm not gonna lie, that shit's pretty dank.
Yo, the retarded geniuses in the chat.
You ever smell your own finger?
God.
And be like, damn, that's a good finger.
Yeah. My farts smell amazing.
Yo, Mike, can you do me a favor, man?
Yo,
man, I need a puppet made that has like arms that aren't part of the body.
A what?
A puppet.
What?
I need a puppet made that doesn't have arms that are part of the body. Ivan, everybody's a mod here, right? Because like I don't want nobody motherfucking like
what puppet?
Quiet.
Well,
Mine.
Your spice level, whatever.
You have one.
Nah, man, the arms are part of the body.
What do you need? What do you need the puppet to be different bodies, bro?
I just need the arms separated. I mean, I could probably do it, but I'm fucking.
What I'm saying is, why do you need the arms separated?
Like, yo, because
he needs it.
Like, yo, when I grab them, they go behind the body instead of in front of it.
Yo, you just gotta fix that the motherfucking.
They're not separate. They're part of the body.
I know you gotta fucking, you know what I'm saying? You gotta fix that in the puppet settings, bro.
I'll see what I can do. You know what I mean?
But
like, yo, look, man. Yo,
animator
powers on this bitch.
You know what I'm saying? There's a setting to like separate the shit.
We only got like 2 paragraphs into that fucking article.
I don't care. You know what I mean?
You know what I'm saying?
Discuss the new right. We discussed like the ideology of the new right the whole time.
Yeah. I suppose that's fair enough.
You know what I mean?
Yarvin, I am going to assume that you watched this entire 2-hour live stream because I'm that narcissistic about how awesome we are.
We are awesome.
Hit us up.
Yeah, we're around. Like, we are the greatest YouTubers who have ever YouTubed on YouTube. You know what I mean? Like, it's important to understand that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I bet not just Yarvin, but like Trump and Biden and all. Yeah, all these people are
right now.
He is one of the 21 people watching at this exact moment.
Yo, really? Bill Maher is lurking right now. Obama's watching in the background, hanging out.
Hi, Obama.
No, he's watching on the same computer as Biden is. He's just like literally right behind the old man.
Well, technically, like he's controlling Biden. Excuse me. He has a remote control of Biden. You know what I mean? And like he has like a little screen when he can see what he sees, he hears what he hears.
Like a fucking revenant.
All right. Yo, look, I'm getting the fuck out of here. You know, I mean, we're gonna shut this bitch down. Thank you, TK, Mike, Ad-Hot, all my niggas. I love y'all. You know what I mean? We're gonna close this down because it's been 2 hours, and that's long enough fucking live stream for me.
Yo, I wish I could have put more into the joint.
Donate to the channel.
You know what I'm saying? I wish I could have put more into this joint, but I lack the vocabulary and knowledge in these topics.
I apologize for talking over you there, Mike.
We haven't even done the article.
I don't care, man. I don't care, yo. Taylor Swift had the best fucking album in the motherfucking century and shit. You know what I mean? At the end of the day,